Hello, my name is Wallace Mack, and I'm a freshman majoring in secondary English education. The new student dialogue that I attended was called I Like Him, but the Stigmas of Interracial Dating. And in my dialogue, we were encouraged to critically consider race through the discussion of stigmas which modern American societies place upon interracial couples. We were invited to explore their values regarding the role of race in dating, relationships, and marriage, as well as listen to and learn from the perspective of our peers. And our new student dialogue was definitely informative. There were several um, really strong voices within our group. One which actually came from a girl who was actually in an interracial relationship, and it was just interesting to hear her talk about the way that she's been in this relationship for 4 years, and she seriously considered marrying this guy, but her parents refused to meet him. Another active voice in our dialogue actually came from just different. We had a lot of different cultures in our class, and we actually heard from a girl who's actually African American, and she has a preference for Chinese American men. We also heard from African American females who found the idea of dating outside of their race troubling, and the fact that so many African American males these days are actually trying to target women of other races. Then another active voice within my new student dialogue actually was my own, just speaking of my own perspective of not really coming from a high school where there was much difference in race to even consider dating interracially at all. Within our group, there were also a couple very reserved voices. There were people in the dialogue who did not speak at all, just kind of sat there and participated. You could tell a lot of people were just kind of tired and ready to go, but nevertheless, it was still very informative. Our facilitators were great leaders in the discussion on interracial dating. It was interesting because we actually had an African American male and a Caucasian female facilitate. So I feel like as far as race relation was involved, it was pretty well rounded, and there were several different cultures, like I said, represented within my new student dialogue. Before we even began discussing the topic, we were handed charts that kind of explained to us what debate was versus conversation versus communication versus um, dialogue, and we got a good feel for what dialogue actually is and why it is important in a group setting, especially when you're discussing something as sensitive as interracial dating. And one problem that we did not have in my new student dialogue was actually a lot of debate and confrontation. We worked together and were very respectful of each other's opinions, and also um, very respectful about the way that we presented different ideas and theories, so that I feel as though nobody in my new student dialogue was offended by anything that was said or mentioned by anybody that was in the room. I feel like we all learned something different from each person who actively participated. I feel like our facilitators gave us a really good idea of the way to go about facilitating conversations of such a extreme degree in our everyday lives. Um, do I think the dialogue was an important component of Library 100? Actually, I feel like the new student dialogue was probably the most important part of Library 100. I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard this a lot, but Library 100 is not the most fun activity to complete. And no, I do not believe everything that I did in Library 100 was actually necessary to the success of my freshman year, but my new student dialogue definitely gave me the opportunity to meet different people and actually participate in meaningful conversation with those people as well. And some of the people that were in my dialogue are actually people that I still see on a continuous basis. And that one subject that we talked about in our new student dialogue has become the basis for several more conversations every time we see each other. and I definitely see the dialogue as a useful tool in my university experience. It actually got me interested in the position of being a peer dialogue facilitator myself, which is something that I'll be hearing about in the next few days. But I just definitely have to thank Library 100 for providing me the opportunity to even be informed on what that was. I also feel like in the future, um, as far as Library 100 is concerned, maybe if there was like a minimum of the other things that we've done in Library 100 and actually more student dialogue might actually be more beneficial to the atmosphere of the incoming class. Like I said, New Student Dialogue definitely gave me a way to express myself and get a feel for my fellow class of 2015 members. And that's pretty much all I have to say about New Student Dialogue. Once again, my name is Wallace Mack, and I'm a freshman majoring in secondary English education here at Clemson University. Go Tigers.